So earlier today, I made the bold and brash decision to watch Solo because I've been on a bit of a Star Wars kick, as you could probably tell from me reviewing Fallen Order and also playing Jedi Survivor. So, and I'm yet to watch Andor or any of the other shows, so I figured I'd give one of the movies a shot. I mean, I've seen Rogue One for what it's worth in the sequels, but I decided to give Solo an honest, fair shot, and I really liked, past, like, the 10-minute opening, I liked it for, like, 30-ish, 40-ish, no, maybe like 20 to 30-ish minutes, and then I did not have a good time the rest of the movie. So, let's get into that. So to start, I think the lighting in the movie, especially at the start, is really, really bad. You can't see anything. Maybe it's just my TV. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I really did not particularly enjoy that. And to start off, Solo is the origin story of Han Solo that what I do think would be cool to see, I'm not really particularly interested in it. They had my interest at the start, and that was it. Basically, it's a weird, I don't want to say, it's somewhat similar to a Western, but lacking the execution and strong characterizations. But I guess I should start about the overall plot. Basically, I'm going to be spoiling the opening, but don't worry, because I don't really enjoy this movie, and if you like Solo, you've probably already seen it, and in which case, I'm happy you enjoyed it. I really am happy. We should celebrate that. And it's basically the story of how Han Solo became such a renowned pilot, and that, I guess, a brief history of him as an outlaw, kinda. I don't know. The movie doesn't really do a fantastic job of making that believable or interesting, but that's okay. I guess to start, I'd say the cast is a little mediocre. I don't know. The guy who plays Han Solo is great. He is by far one of the best parts of the movie. And Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, I don't know how to say it. I don't remember. He is a pretty good. I think. I think he's all right. And I believe the last guy, his name is Beckett. I think it's crazy. I'm already having trouble remembering who's who, and I watched it just hours ago. He was also he did okay, I guess. Yeah. And that's kind of it. Now, granted, I come at this from a little bit of a skewed background. I don't particularly like Chewbacca, like, in the slightest. And, I don't know, Wookiees are just kind of weird looking to me, but that's okay. And, I feel like there wasn't really much there. So, I'm really trying not to spoil the movie, because so much of why I'm annoyed is that so many of the characters are just kind of flat, and it starts out really promising, kinda-ish maybe. There's some World War imagery that isn't terrible, unlike The Last Jedi's World War imagery with the whole bomb dropping. I don't mean to trash on that movie. I'm sure people have their reasons for liking it. I just don't. But the set pieces, I think, are very strong, like 10 minutes to 40 minutes in, which I really enjoyed. And I did read a couple reviews. I didn't really want to indulge too much, but I was very curious whether I was the odd man out. And a lot of people were annoyed that Han doesn't really change. His character doesn't really develop. He's always just been kind of the same guy-ish. And I'm not really bothered by that part. I don't really care that Han Solo is a static character, because I think as long as it's done well, and it seems like the only thing this movie tries to do is make him more cynical towards the world, and to try to build this no trust in anybody, we're outlaws forever kind of vibe. And I I'm not a big fan of that. That's just a me thing. It's nothing to do with the movie. But that didn't really particularly resonate with me. The only part of the movie I thought was genuinely fun was this train heist. And the build up to that train heist was really fun to me. I got excited after the train heist to see what would happen next. And I didn't particularly find myself interested after that. To me, it was kind of a snooze fest. Oh god, that I feel so mean, but I don't know. There's just so much, like, there's a lack of, like, conversation always. It feels like they're acting as opposed to being in character. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, it's a movie, man. What did you expect? And I'm like, well, I don't know what I expected, but it was very flat. And the only person who really sells me that he's really the guy is the actor for Han Solo himself. He really did a great job to me. He has a lot of charisma. He's no Harrison Ford for sure, but I was very impressed. Unfortunately, the script doesn't really have any interesting ways to express his character, so it kind of feels like he's doing all the heavy lifting there, because the writing isn't really doing him or anyone else any favors. There's a part where they're playing hollow chess. That's kind of neat. I did like that. But I don't really like most of the characters. A large faction, the large factions in play, I think, are dreadfully underutilized, or at the very least, they're showing the most boring parts of them. I think they're trying to go for like a, I don't know the name of the Bond movie, maybe a Casino Royale thing with the villain, quote unquote, but I guess there's like multiple villains, and evil is subjective. It isn't really in this movie. It's pretty clear who's evil, but I don't know. And they try to make up for everything in the movie by having a cameo of somebody I really like, and I don't really want to spoil it if you haven't seen the movie, but if you've seen it, you know who I'm talking about. And I think that's kinda, I hate to use the word cringe, but he doesn't really do anything, and I don't think that, okay, I don't think people really understand that the character is cooler when he's just being a slave to his own mindless violence, and he's like completely focused and locked in and quiet. He's not as interesting most of the time unless he has somebody to like bounce off of his own ideologies with, and in which case we certainly do not get that. But there's some things that are kind of neat. There's a droid who fights for droid rights. I don't really know how I feel about that. I don't really know how it fits into the broader Star Wars universe, and the way they imply it makes it seem like droids are kind of just enslaved, which is like less cool. But it's even weirder that it's like a joke, but I don't know. It's weird, because this is a very hard movie for me to analyze if you can't tell. So one thing I love doing on my main channel is I love talking about themes. We talked about themes in Alisa. We talked about themes in Titanfall 2. We talked about themes in, God, we couldn't find any in Back 4 Blood, but we talked about themes in Darktide, stuff like that. We love themes. And in this movie, the only theme to me is just creating an idea of doing the right thing, but also self-wallowing in your own cynicism, maybe? I don't know, man. I really don't get it. And there's a weird, like, hierarchy of power in the movie, where they're always like, there's always somebody in charge, and it's like, it didn't really do anything for me. I guess that this is 9 minutes for me to kind of get to my theme of this video. The movie did not do anything for me, and that's kind of a shame, because I got really excited 10 minutes to like 30 minutes in with that whole train heist. I got really, really excited, and I guess that's on me. There's this part where they're on this mud planet. I'm really trying not to spoil anything, because I think this is something... I was told prior by people it was a good movie and not great, and I don't necessarily agree with that. My my idea of like the Alien 3 test, this is a little off topic, but my way of rating movies, right, is if I liked it more than Alien 3, it's all right, you know, it's good. And if it's Alien 3, it's a movie. And if it's below Alien 3, I didn't really like it. And granted, I don't really like Alien 3, but I can at least see heart, and like there's enough stuff that is like passable for me to be like, that's chill, that's cool, you know? Kinda, sometimes. It really depends on the day for me at this point. I've become a lot more cynical towards that movie. And Solo for me does not pass the Alien 3 test for me, if that's any comparison for you. I just find myself feeling just as cynical as Han is at the end of the film. But it's weird, because the actor doesn't really portray him as cynical. It feels like it's all the script's doing and the people around him. And I'm very, I guess, just disappointed. Disappointed is probably the best word I have. Because I'm disappointed because I know they could have made this movie really good. And now you may be thinking, whoa, it's Disney Star Wars, man. What are you smoking? And the crazy thing about that is I really did enjoy that segment with the train and when they were on the mud planet. Prior to that, no, not a ton. And after that, no, not really. But that small little like part of the movie made me really think, oh, I'm in for a treat, and I really wasn't. And it's kind of funny because God, I think like close to the end of the movie, when I like 10 or 15 minutes left, my connection started freaking out, and I couldn't get the movie to load. And I debated on even finishing it before just, you know, trying again for like 5-ish minutes before it came back on. But there's just so much to that movie that really doesn't work or fit. It wants to be this like fantastic story of like love, crime, action, adventure, and space, and it really doesn't hit that at all. But it's not like offensively bad. Like I didn't walk away being infuriated, but I think part of that is because I felt kind of lobotomized towards the second half. There's just so much, and nothing comes of it, and nothing means anything, and it feels like it was made because somebody in like the executive department was like, yeah, that would sell. And that makes me really sad, because the guy who plays Solo really does have charisma, and Donald Glover does okay. It's not his best work, but you know, he does do okay. He's not that bad. He's chill. And I don't know, the Beckett guy, he does pretty good. And everyone else, not really, which is kind of a shame. It's just so difficult, because there's not really a theme I take away from the movie. There's not really anything I take away from the movie. It's just like, yeah, I watched it, and yeah, there was like one, or I guess 2 set pieces I like, if we're being generous. And the rest was just kind of not interesting, it not really nice. I like the design of the aliens mostly, which is good. I feel like I've had a problem with that in a lot of Star Wars media. That's not a sequel exclusive thing. I'm just not nuts about the aliens most of the time. I thought they were pretty neat in this movie. Except this, like, they go to this mafia crime lounge at some point, and God, man, that music I do not ball with. It is not. I'm not a big fan of the music they had in that lounge, and I'm really not a fan of the aliens in there. But other than that, the aliens were cool. I just wish all the characters were as likable as Han. I think he was really the only likable guy, and Donald Glover. But I think the only reason they were is because they were just so like into it. Nobody else really had that same sort of energy for me. And the writing, to me, wasn't very impressive, nor the script, or the events and how they unfolded were really impressive, and I couldn't really tell you. God, it felt like past that train bit, they just had no idea what to do with Han's character or how to express it. And I would have, like, scrapped everything past the train scene and just rewrote something entirely new. But I think at the end of the day, if you want more Star Wars, Solo is not a great inclusion, but it is by technicality more Star Wars. I think it is just a very unfun, uninteresting ride past that little set piece, which is a real shame because I really want to believe in everyone. Now, granted, you have to remember, this is coming from me, right? I'm not like the world's biggest Star Wars fan. I like what I like, I dislike what I dislike, and I'm okay with that. I just kind of think they could have done better. And that makes me upset. That makes me really upset because there's stuff in this movie I do like. I like Han's characterization. I like his dialogue. I like his dynamic with Lando. And I like the dynamic with almost everyone around him. I like the way he meets Chewbacca. Stuff like that. There's a lot of really cool interactions that could have happened. Like could have happened. I really think everyone in the Crimson Dawn, which I'm not going to get into who they are, because I said I really don't want to spoil anything. Everybody in the Crimson Dawn, I just don't really ball with as characters. To me, they're very flat. They're uninteresting. Granted, I guess it's better than them taking people I know and, like, destroying them, right? But I'm really just not impressed by the whole movie, which is crazy, because I feel like this film gets a worse rep than it deserves, but I can't really think of much positive to say about it, which is kind of heartbreaking to me. Like, yeah, you know, I'm sure there's something for most people in it. Surely, you know, you're not gonna watch it and be like, yeah, that's the worst film I've ever seen. But God, man, I'm really hard pressed to think of like more positivity, which is kind of a shame. I do try to stay positive. Granted, that's not really always going to be an option when reviewing stuff, but Solo, to me, at the very least, does a good job of showing that Han can have a cool character, and like prior to the originals. Now, granted, one thing I dislike about Han's characterization is how they just kind of give him traits without really a good reasoning for it. Like, it's just, that's how he is in the original, so he has to have it. It can't be something that naturally develops. It's just he's pre-built with that preset in mind. I guess cynicism is something that the movie does develop, but I don't really like how they develop cynicism. It's very shallow, in my opinion. I can't really get into detail on it, but it's not as hard-hitting or as nuanced as they want you to believe from watching the movie, which to me is also a real shame, because I think the idea of a person becoming cynical in a galaxy filled with so much hope can be a cool characterization choice. I just think they completely fumbled the ball. They really fumbled the ball with this one. But what can you do? You know, what can you do? And if you want good Star Wars media to watch, there's always some, and there's also Legends, which granted, I don't think any of it is canon anymore. I think like nothing is canon outside the movies. I guess the books of those movies. Excuse me. Sorry, I'm still a little sick. And I guess Clone Wars and like everything on Disney Plus, maybe. I don't know, because I haven't seen most of it. But you know, they got the movies, they got Clone Wars, they got The Bad Batch, which I only watched some of. They got Tales of the Jedi, they got Tales of the Empire, they got Star Wars Goonies or whatever it's called, or Goobies. I don't know. It's like I don't know. I didn't watch it. Maybe it's called like Treasure Crew or something. They got Ahsoka. They got Kenobi. I haven't watched those two. I don't really plan to. And they got Andor. People love Andor, which I have on my to watch list. And I don't know. They made like an Overwatch clone at some point. Maybe that's still like on Disney Plus, or maybe you can play it there. I don't know. But that's kind of my thoughts on Solo. I didn't really enjoy it, though I really did try. And I recognize they really tried with this movie, which is something I do appreciate. I just think they really fumbled the ball. They really did mess up with just about, I guess, everything minus costume design. I don't know. Sound design was also good, but I guess effects. But I don't know. The writing, the story, the twists. Yeah, I think I said that right. Really didn't do anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Disney. And I'm sorry to you too, Lucasfilm, if you're watching. But there's always next time. I don't know. Could I see a sequel to Solo that could fix my problems with this movie? No, absolutely not. I think the plot thread they designed for the end of the movie is kind of... I'm trying not to curse. Kind of bad, I'll say. I think the hinted follow-up and cameo is a waste of a cameo, and it seems like it would lead to something being bad and a place that really is not fitting for Han Solo. And if I were to remake the movie, I would... Well, I'd hesitate to spoil anything. I would definitely change his origin from being just an outlaw on a ship planet, without getting into spoilers. I'd change that. I would like to keep the train, and everything past that, I would rather he just go around the galaxy getting into trouble. And here, he doesn't really do much. Well, I guess he does get into trouble, but the trouble is mostly, like, with me watching the movie. He does get into, like, some, like, heist shenanigans, but the heist itself is very lame, which is a real shame, because I was really looking forward to that. And I also think the characterization of everyone in the Crimson Dawn is also really lame. And I'm also very uninterested in him. There was some other faction named, like, Steven's Nest. It wasn't Steven. It was some other word. Irvin or something. Bilf. I don't remember. They're also lame. There's a lot of really bad factions. I would just rather take out, and he could just go on this crazy... You guys ever see side quest videos? I've seen maybe like a grand total of 10 minutes, because most of the time I click off. It's not something I'm interested in, but if the whole thing was like a side quest YouTube video, but it was just Han Solo, and it was obviously much better structured and edited, sort of like a story, them going route to route, I think I would have liked that. I think I would have liked that an awful lot. And I guess I'm just sad at what could have been, because I really do think they had potential with this movie, but what can you do, you know? But you know, he's Han Solo, I guess. That's how the movie happened. That's how he became Han Solo, head in the city, clouds in the sky. I don't remember the song, but I hope to God you enjoy this movie more than I did if you watch it. I really do mean that. And if you did enjoy it more than I did, please tell me what you liked about it. I would love to know, because maybe I saw like a theatrical cut, and there's like an extended cut that fixes my problems. I don't know, but maybe I just saw a version that was like, bad, and there's like another good version. I would really love to know, because I kind of think me disliking it is a me thing. I just wish they changed so much, because every part that isn't like 10 minutes to like 30 minutes in, to me, is just really, really not good. But you know, I did enjoy some of it, so that's a win in my book. Anyway, I love you all. Peace out. Yeah, I'm Han Solo.